Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our final session in our three-part webinar series looking at AI in marketing localization. Thank you all for joining us today. And for those of you who have joined us for sessions 1 and 2 in September and October, welcome back. It's been great to see so many faces joining us throughout this series, and I hope you found the sessions so far useful. Today will hopefully be no exception, and I'm very excited to dive into the topic in our final session in this series. So as a quick recap, in sessions 1 and 2, we looked at AI-enabled translation methods for a range of global content types, covering both text translation and audiovisual translation. Today, we're going to be looking at the overarching process that sits behind these AI translation methods and how you can gain further speed, time, cost efficiencies, and competitive advantage, and really scale your brand by investing in smart workflows. Essentially, we're looking at how you can link up the AI methods we looked at in previous sessions directly within your marketing systems. This process is commonly known as continuous localization, and it involves always-on translation, often with AI in the translation mix, along with integrating your content management systems or your PIM systems, etc., with the translation management platform of your translation provider. Imagine a seamless, fully integrated workflow for translation with content flowing back and forth from your systems, ready to be translated and published. That's a dream for many brands, and today we're going to share with you how to make that happen. But before we kick off, I'm just going to share a couple of housekeeping bits. The session will be recorded, so for those who might need to leave us a little bit early, we will be sending a recording round in the coming weeks. And we've also got time for Q&A at the end, so please add any questions to either the chat or the Q&A function. I'd also like to do some introductions, as we have two very special guests joining us today who I'm very excited to hear their expertise. They both have experience in managing continuous localization workflows and working with brands to put these in place. But before I introduce my guest, I'll just introduce myself. So I'm James, I'm a head of commercial here at Comtech Translations. And for those unfamiliar with Comtech, this might be the first time you're joining us in this series. We are an award-winning UK-based language, localization and culture agency, and we support brands communicate their messaging in over 250 global languages. I have the pleasure of being joined by my colleague as well, Emma Britton. Emma, would you like to say a few words about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, James. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm the commercial manager here at Comtech. I work very closely alongside James in working with our new clients. I primarily work with clients in the luxury and retail space, understanding their priorities and how we can best support them. Integration is something we've seen coming up more and more frequently over the past year, particularly in the retail space. So I'm looking forward to diving a bit more into that today.
Fantastic. Thank you, Emma. And we're also joined, please give a warm welcome to Alex Terekov from Blackbird. Blackbird are our localization technology partner who help make all these exciting integrated workflows happen. Alex, you want to say a few words at all?
Yep. Hello all. I'm Alex. I'm solutions architect at Blackbird, and we are a technical partner of Comtech, where we are making all these bits and pieces of content moving between the systems.
Amazing. Thank you, Alex. I'm excited to hear both of your perspectives. So Alex is on hand for any technical Q&A towards the end of the session. Emma will also be sharing a sneak peek at continuous localization in action as well. So let's kick off. So what are we going to look at today? So first of all, we'll be covering the case for continuous localization and integration, why integrated workflows can be really hugely advantageous. I'll introduce Comtech Connect, which is Comtech's bespoke approach to continuous localization and smart workflows. I'll also talk you through the 4 steps of setting up an automated localization process, along with share an example workflow and a live demo of a Shopify integration in action, which will be super exciting. I'll then hand to Emma, who's going to talk through a few success stories from real client examples of how brands have been putting continuous localization into practice via integrated workflows. And finally, we'll have some time for our top tips, and we have a free gift for you all as well, who are joining us today, and our Q&A. So let's get started. So first of all, I want to look at the case for continuous localization and why more and more brands are looking to integrate localization into their workflows for their content production and management. As we explored in sessions 1 and 2, we know by now that localization makes good business sense. So to help set the scene, I've got some really cool stats I want to talk you through. So research shows that 75% of customers prefer to buy from sites in their own language. 40% of customers wouldn't buy something if it wasn't available in their preferred language. Localized ad copy and creative copy outperforms English only creative by 86% when we're looking at conversion rates and click-through rates. So there's some really powerful stats that show that this works. Furthermore, localized SEO for your websites can increase organic traffic by up to 47%. And businesses that invest in localization are twice as likely to have year-on-year revenue growth. So it's really clear that localization does make a big impact for a business, and you can get some incredible return on investment. However, there's a bit of a challenge at the moment for brands, and it's based on how much content there is to localize in the world at the moment. On the screen, I've got an interesting graphic I wanted to show you. So this is an image of Domo's An Internet Minute in 2025. It shows the current amount of content currently being consumed every minute of the day. So some of these results are staggering. 18.8 million text messages are being sent every minute. 251 million emails are being sent every minute. So it's staggering how much content there is out there. In fact, global data is predicted to reach 181 zettabytes by the end of 2025. Now, to put that into perspective, I've never heard of a zettabyte before prepping for this webinar series. That is equivalent of storing 250 billion DVDs in one place. So that is a whopping amount of data that's going to be available on the internet by the end of this year. And in fact, 90% of that data has been created in the last 2 years alone. So we are living in an unprecedented era of data, content production, and it's hard for brands to keep up and translate their content for their audience. We've seen previously that traditional human translation methods can't always keep up for certain content types. So that's where AI solutions or AI human hybrid solutions are becoming really commonplace in global content production. But if you really want to take your global content production to the next level and scale even more effectively, adopting a continuous localization mindset and integrating translation directly into your platforms and workflows is the best way to go. And here are 5 reasons why. So first of all, it's more efficient. So imagine your platform is linked up to your translation provider's platform and you're sharing content at the click of a button back and forth. That means no more manual copying and pasting, which cuts out a lot of admin time and quicker turnaround times for your projects before translation's even begun. It's also more accurate because it minimizes risk of human error because you're not copying and pasting, exporting, importing things, especially when dealing with complex file formats that might require a lot of preparation. A real key benefit of continuous localization is faster delivery. So speeding up the time to market for international campaigns via integration and AI workflows, and allowing you to launch simultaneously across all regions and channels. It's also a more consistent process because having one fixed content production process for your translations allows you to scale easily as your brand. And alongside this, you get better visibility, allowing you to track your translation progress in real time, giving you full access and oversight to your workflows and your cost savings. So there's some real amazing benefits you can get from investing in integrating with your platforms of your translation partner and adopting a continuous localization mindset. What I'd like to do now, though, is now I've kind of set the scene, is actually look at how this works in practice and then we'll come on to look at some success stories as well. So for the purposes of this webinar, I'll be talking about continuous localization and integration from context perspective and how we offer this solution to our clients. So introducing Comtech Connect. So Comtech Connect is Comtech's bespoke continuous localization solution that creates specific workflows tailored to our client's specific needs. Our tech and linguistic teams, in partnership with our teams like Blackbird, integrate multiple systems such as CMS systems, CRM, PIM, customer service and e-commerce platforms with our translation environment, creating a unified, automated and seamless integrated process for translation. Here are some of the benefits of that process. First of all, having an integrated process allows you to access not just tech expertise, but linguistic expertise. So as your translation partner, we're invested in the outcomes of your translations, and we're on hand to work with you every step of the way to set you up and make sure that we recommend the best solutions for every single piece of content you're looking to translate, whether it's CRM content, website content, etc. We're also technical experts alongside linguists, which puts us in a really unique position. And we bring that technical expertise with our tech team and our tech partners. And we will work with your tech teams internally to really integrate your solutions and set up a bespoke system that works in line with what you need, and complete all the testing, building, integration that we'll look at on the next slide. And thankfully, finally, thanks to our partnership with Blackbird, our technical localization partner, we're able to integrate with a multitude of systems. So some of the ones you can see on the screen are some of the many systems that Blackbird enables us to integrate with. Contentful, HubSpot, Sitecore, Shopify are some of the real common ones that we're seeing some great results from. So this is why Content Connect and a continuous localization workflow can work really well for a brand. But how do you go about getting this set up? I put on the screen a quick diagram to show you the 4 steps of how to set up a continuous localization workflow. Now, each step is very involved, but this is very much in a nutshell, top level process for the benefits of this webinar. So step 1, we always recommend, and as you would have seen on previous webinars, categorizing your content according to criteria, whether it's creativity, spend, budget, timescales, impact, looking at the content you're looking to translate and coming up with the best workflow in terms of the text translation for each content type. Step 2 is essentially selecting the service levels. Once you've assessed, we work with you to assess your content. And essentially determining which ROI efficient method is right for each piece of content, where post-editing might be required, where AI translation might suffice alone, or where you might need a fully human translation for real high impact content. So we will work with you at steps 1 and 2 as your translation partner from a language perspective to make sure all the language side of the workflow is working effectively. And then we move on to the technology. So step 3 is working with us to design your integrated workflow. So this is where our technology team come into play. So we will work with your tech team to set up the most efficient, effective translation process for your content that links your system with ours. This will include determining, a few examples, which file formats content is transferred in between systems, along with trigger points as to when content is sent from your system to ours and back again. There's some really cool triggers that we can put in place, a mix of manual triggers and automated triggers depending on your preferences. So this is where we can really get into nitty-gritty and make your process work best for you. And finally, we work with you to review, test, and refine the process. If things aren't working, we go back and update the workflow to ensure it's working really smoothly. So that hopefully gives you an insight of how to build a continuous localization workflow. Typically, we can get one set up within about a month, which is really cool, and that includes the testing time as well. So it's really swift in terms of getting that set up for our clients. What I wanted now to show you is a quick demo to really bring this to life. And for the purpose of this demo, we've created a dummy client, and I'm going to talk you through the workflow and we've put together for this demo of what's possible in example workflow, and also show you what that looks like in practice with a quick demo video to share with you. But first of all, I'm going to talk about the scenario, who this client is, and what workflow we are going to be showing to you that we've put in place. So our example client is a UK retailer who is actually a coffee brand, we've decided, who has a English and French website that needs updated automatically with French translations when products are launched. They've chosen to integrate via Content Connect. They have a Shopify website, and they've integrated that with our translation platform. For the purpose of translation and this demo, they've opted for an AI-only translation workflow, which includes machine translation and automated post-editing, which is our MTAP solution, which includes editing of the translations with the power of a customized large language model for a full AI seamless process for translation. So here's how that process works in 4 easy steps. So first of all, via the plugin, new content is identified that's been published on the Shopify website. Context plugin automatically detects these new pages that need translating into French, scrapes them, and sends the content directly via Comtech to Comtech for translation into French. At this point, as we're looking at machine translation, and it's an via an automated process, translation begins instantly. The content is passed through the customized workflow of AI translation and automated post-editing. And within 30 minutes, depending on the content types, 30 to 60 minutes, sometimes they appear in 5, depending on the content types. It all depends on the volume you're looking at. But within 60 minutes maximum, customized AI translations are returned to the CMS as placeholders, and they are published live as well. So the French site is never left incomplete. I'm going to pause at this point and show you how this works in practice before I talk about levels of post-editing. So bear with me 10 seconds while I swap my screen over. Fantastic. Can everyone see my screen? Thank you, Emma. Right, I'm going to show you how a Shopify integration works. So I have a little video to show you. And as you can see on the screen, we have a UK website, which has been we've designed as an example with a few coffee branded products on the screen. We're also going to flick to show you the French version. So here is the French version of the existing website that we've translated via machine translation for the purpose of this demo. What we're going to show you very quickly is how we create a new product and send it for translation. So as you can see now, we're in the back end of Shopify. This is where all the content is held, and we're adding a brand new product. So this is very much here's what we made earlier. So my colleague is creating a new product which is an insulated coffee mug, and is creating the description in the back end of the website. So imagine this is your workflow when you're creating new content, adding new products to your website. And again, we're about to see, as we can see on the screen, and we're also looking at the SEO as well. So the meta title and meta description, also making sure that's in place as well. So we're saving that English piece of content, and that product's been created and published on the website. What we're now going to do is look at localization of this. So we're going to localization window. And as you can see here, we have a blank, no translations in the French window that's been customized for. But in the background, we have kicked off a workflow that is fully automated. And this is the power of Blackbird. So very quickly, what you're seeing on screen is all of the magic that happens behind the scenes. So in this instance, and this is how quick it works, content is being downloaded from Shopify. It's being sent to our translation environment memo queue. It's being translated via machine translation, automated post editing, and it's being exported when it's finished back from memo queue into Shopify. We're now going to refresh the screen. And as if by magic, we're going to go into that product, which you can see has been published. We're going to go to the translation area of this. And you will see we have French translations in place. Now, if we refresh the website and go to the French version, we will also see that that page, that product is now live. And there we have it. So that is a sneak peek at how continuous localization works in practice. I'm just going to flick back to my slides, so bear with me. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong slide. There There we go. That's what I wanted. So as mentioned for the purpose of the demo, we have completed an AI-only translation approach, but that is by all means not the only service level available. And for lots of website content, we would highly recommend post-editing as a minimum by a professional human, or for some content types which are high impact or creative, fully human translation potentially. But if you were to have a workflow that you also want a level of human post-editing in, this is how it would work. So as you see in the demo, those placeholder translations are now live in the English site, on the French site, sorry. At that point, if you were looking for post-editing and you had your workflow set up, once the placeholder translations are back there, Comtech would receive a trigger notification that the content is now ready for post-editing. Our linguist would then be assigned in our translation platform to then post-edit, refine, and polish the translations, ensuring brand perfect quality in line with your glossaries, style guidelines, etc., for full impact. At this point, when we finalize our translations, once we press complete at our side, it fires them back into Shopify automatically, replacing the placeholders with the fully polished text. Content is then fully live and market ready. So I hope that's really brought to life how powerful continuous localization can be. I'm now going to hand to my colleague Emma, who's going to talk through a couple of client examples. Emma, over to you.
Just unmute myself. Brilliant. Thanks so much, James. So yeah, I've got a couple of client stories that I'd like to share with you that really bring to life the value of integration. So the first story is with one of our leading luxury fashion brand clients. They came to us as their translation process had been extremely time consuming. They were exporting huge complex file types of their website and then sending these through for translation with their previous supplier. There was code mixed in with the content and it just wasn't optimized at all for translation. So when they were re-uploading the copy, they often found that bits had been missing in their other language sites. And this was a premium brand, so it didn't really reflect the experience that they were hoping that they wanted their clients to experience. So we discussed about a few different options with them, including helping them with exporting and re-importing content manually from their site, versus building an integration for them, which would start the translation workflow at the click of a button, like James has just demonstrated to us. And then we decided together that integration was going to be the best way of ensuring that nothing got missed for translation, and also that they wouldn't have to spend time trawling through their files and eliminating anything that didn't need translating. So overall, this was a huge win for their team. So they've been spending an enormous amount of time manually prepping the files for translation. So that was the first story that I wanted to share with you. The second is regarding one of our clients in the travel space. They're actually a leading travel app provider, and they operate in over 30 languages. So they have a huge amount of content and a huge amount of different languages they need their content to go into. They needed translations to get to market fast and a way to ensure that when one piece of content was updated, all language versions were automatically updated as well. But they had very complex requirements for how they wanted the connector to work. So we came up with a bespoke integration workflow, which included triggers at different workflow stages. So for those of you that don't know, an example of a trigger might be, as an example, after a certain number of changes have been made to your product descriptions, then all of those product descriptions would go off translation at the same time. Or that could be a time-based trigger. So after 1 week, for example, any updated source content would be bucketed and then sent for translation to align your content across all languages. For this client in particular, we built a tailored integration that basically bucketed the English copy changes after 20 strings within their app had been changed. And then this was sent off for translation in batches. And they achieved a much more efficient and scalable process. It kept all their multilingual content aligned and up to date. So again, it was a real win for the whole team in speeding things up, and also really alleviating that manual process that they had before.
Thank you so much, Emma. That sounds really, really great. And I think they're really good examples of where continuous localization is really making benefits. And yeah, some really cool stuff with the triggers there, which I know it really can really expedite content transferring back and forth as well. So we're nearly at the end of our webinar, but before we look at kind of final thoughts and any Q&A, we have a special offer for our attendees today. So if you email freebie to my email address on the screen, you can get a free 1-hour consultation with myself and our tech team to look at setting up a ideal automated localization process for your website, your PIM system, your e-commerce platform, whatever systems you're using to host translation content. We can look at that with you and come up with our best recommendation of how to localize that effectively. We'll also give you a report card on your current process and how efficient it is, if you're already experimenting with continuous localization, or if you're not at all, and we can look at what kind of time and cost and hidden cost savings you can leverage from those things as well. But before we go into any Q&A, Alex or Emma, do you have any final comments at all you'd like to share, or final takeaways?
No, all good, I think, James.
Fantastic, thank you. Alex, anything from you?
Yep. All good. I'm looking forward for the questions.
Amazing, thank you very much. So I think just final wrap up from me in terms of takeaways are: make sure you're working with a translation partner who has the technology and the language expertise to really make this effective for you. As we've looked at throughout the series, AI translation or hybrid AI human translation is only one part of it. We also have the actual process, the overarching technical integration as well. So find a partner that has experience in both that can guide you. Each one, whether it's the integration or the AI translation, can make some amazing benefits, but together, linking those things up really, really is where the real magic happens. So that will be my main takeaway for today. On that note then, do we have any questions at all? Is anyone feeling brave to ask us a question? Everyone's been very shy so far, but I'll give you a couple of a minute or so in case you want to add anything to the chat. Alex, perhaps while we're waiting, what are some of the common questions that come up, or Emma, when people are asking about continuous localization? What are some of the queries people might generally have?
I think one of the queries that people generally have is about how they can really make the integration bespoke to them.
Yeah.
Alex, you'd be better placed to answer this than me. But so, for example, I mentioned about different triggers that can be either, updates to the source content after a certain amount of strings, for example, or product descriptions have been updated. Then everything goes off for translation in one go. There's also the time-based triggers. What other triggers can people leverage from to create an integration that's really bespoke to them and that really works for them?
Yeah. So most often people start from like manual kind of spreadsheet thingy where there is a Slack message or something. And what we found most often happens is there are multiple steps, because it's scary to go from, when you are in control, to completely automated something happening in the background. So what we most often see there is like a progression towards automation. So you start from completely manual spreadsheet-like or email-like thing where you just pin Comtech, here are 5 products we need to update, or here is a spreadsheet. And then you may go to, okay, now we have some Slack integration, some other messaging integration, which kind of still keeps you in control. And then, but it's one more automation side. And then usually after some time, after the trust is built, then it's going to automated product updates, like you mentioned, when something is updated, but still it's not fully real time yet. It's bucketed maybe once a week, once a day. Usually it's once a week cadence, like you mentioned. Some customers go to once per day if volume is decent enough. And then once the trust is fully built, then it flows one by one. And each content update gets sent to Comtech. And then depending on the process and agreements, it could be processed even piece by piece. Maybe a new landing page is released, it's immediately sent to there. And it's different. So there is products, but there is also some special campaigns like landing pages, some emails, maybe you send into like either transactional to recover people from the site, or maybe it's a new marketing launch. And then maybe you do one bucket for the marketing. So it's not one step for all. The Comtech is, I believe, is flexible enough to support either continuous location for products, then specific marketing campaign as separate request. So everything will be available in public at one time, and so on and so forth. So it's like it's a gradual trust building, and takes time.
Yeah, I really love how you explain that though. And again, like what the demo we showed on screen was a very simple localization method of sending it from one system to another. But I love that you touched, Alex, on the multi-system integration capabilities, which is something, again, is really advantageous. So imagine you're having a Slack integration or a Monday.com integration where you have your project management area, you have your internal comms system. They can also be linked up to have to be updated or notified as part of the process as well. So there's some really, really, really cool stuff that can be done. And yeah, that's all thanks to Blackbird who make this magic happen. But yes, we don't have any questions, I'm afraid. So I think we clearly have answered everything as part of the presentation. In terms of next steps, we'll be sending a recording out of this in the coming days, and will also be available on our website to review. Please feel free to share it with any colleagues and friends, family, whoever. And please email me as well if you would like to book in a consultation to look at how continuous localization and integration can work for your business. But finally, huge thank you both to Emma and Alex for sharing insights today. They've been invaluable. And yeah, have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.